Well, after not being in a daycare center for over 20 years, daycare centers have changed. There's no time out. There's take a break, which are the same words, just a jazzier way of saying it. Um, I don't know what home is like for the kids, like, if they do take a break or time out or whatever words you all might choose, but at the daycare center, they're saying take a break. And basically, it's the same thing, time taken away from an activity where you need to just sit and you need to think about it. Um, One of my babies had a bad dream, and I had to, bring her back to, um, you're in the daycare center, baby, and it's okay. And then I started naming the children. Do you see all the children? And then she like kind of got it back together. And I'm very proud of myself. Like she just stopped crying and stuff. I said, well, let me see about your pamper. And then I went on around the room. Every eyes that was open, pampers need to be changed. So we're gonna learn the word wet. And I just want the parents. I don't care what daycare center your children go to. It does not have to be Kinsley Academy. Work on the word wet with your children. Okay? They're in Pampers, work on the word wet. Okay? Like I would say basically like at a younger age. Like they have the infant room there, and so I would say at the younger age teach the child wet. You know what I'm saying? So when they get into the room in which they have to be potty trained in, um, if the parents are doing it at home, then the daycare center should be doing it at the daycare center, okay? Or vice versa. Daycare center shouldn't be doing it, and then you're not doing it at home, because then there's a confusion with it, okay? So I told one child to cover his mouth when he coughed. Like it was a couple of them that was coughing. Cover your mouth. And one child came into the daycare center with a mask on. And I didn't know they had kid masks. I ordered a mask for my dog and I ain't never get it, so um I don't know. I'm like a very precaution person with the weather and just different types of things. So that is like a good idea for all kids and all daycare centers. Your child go to a daycare center. It doesn't have to be because I work at this one or my daughter work at that one, or my cousin work at a whole nother one. You know what I'm saying? That you don't have, just let your child know like your pamper is wet. You feel me? Like if you do it at home, like I'm starting them off. The last day was Friday, and we started doing your pamper is wet. Did you know your pamper was wet? So they will go home, and my pamper is wet. You feel me? Um, Please, I don't care what daycare center that your child is at. Work on the word wet, or let that be the word for the month until they start saying wet. Okay. So then you have to have like a book basically with your children or child name on it. At what time did my child say that their pamper was wet, right? So then what you do is write down the time in your little book. My baby wet at this time. My baby wet at that time. Then in your phone, right? Program. I don't know how many things y'all have. Like on mine, it's like I can have a couple of them. Program on your phone the time in which your child says that the pamper's wet. A couple of minutes before, I would say like 5 minutes before your child gonna say my pamper is wet. Take your child to the toilet. They have pots and they have little ones that you sit on the tub. I mean not on tub. I'm sorry. The little seat that you sit on the toilet seat. They got the ones too. So like 5 minutes before, your child gonna say they wet. you done gotta put your baby on the pamper. Even special kids can be potty trained. If you have a child that's in a daycare center and your child's special, okay, your child still can be potty trained. Your child still can learn. There are things your doctor gonna tell you and your child that may mess you up a little bit, whatever. Your child still can be potty trained. Okay, depending on your child birth defects, depends on whether or not you can have your child to be potty trained or not. But I am a true believer that every child can still be potty trained. Okay, and I am. Okay. Now, next thing, I purchased a car seat from Walmart because I have a love for children with all understanding, right? The car seat in which I got is for an infant up until maybe toddler days, okay? Where when you leave the hospital, you have this in particular car seat in which you can place into a stroller. Okay. At some point in time, you have to understand that your child has grown and your child needs to be in the proper car seat. Okay? Now, some children can be overweight for their booster seat. And they cannot sit in a booster seat, and you cannot make them to sit in a booster seat. Do you understand? I just want people to really understand that some children weight does not fit into a booster seat. I got pulled over with Asia and Kayla in the car. And Kayla was bigger than Asia. Well, Asia could sit in a booster seat and Kayla couldn't. And I got a ticket and I told the judge, like, she can't fit in a booster seat. You can't make a child to sit in something they can't sit in. Do you understand what I'm saying? So until they create something for Kayla to sit in, she can't sit in it. Some children cannot sit in booster seats until they create a seat for the children of that size. Okay? Don't matter about the age of the child. If it matter about the age of the child, why you ain't went to somebody and told them it's about the age and the size, not just the size. Okay? So I want for y'all to really get that. If your child is overweight, and just say your child is 4, your child cannot fit in no booster seat. Okay? But the state is saying, well, this is the age and this is the weight. All right, well, sometimes that junk don't match. So then it ain't our fault. It ain't our problem. Mama get a ticket for it. Ain't my problem. Whose problem is it? So these are the things in which you have to come to terms with, okay? You really have to come to terms with that, okay? All children are daycare centers. If I can buy a car seat, okay, you can too. And you have to understand that that little newborn that you had has outgrown that car seat. You know what I'm saying? But your newborn is still with you. You feel me? But your newborn has to go sit in another seat. Okay? It's called growth. Okay? Alright, I just want to share that with you all. Okay? And it's a difference in it. Okay? Child can't fit in the booster seat. Who is you supposed to tell? Well, my child can't fit in the booster seat. Okay, so I done paid a ticket for Kayla being in my car, and her age and her weight was mismatched, and I had to pay a damn ticket. Because and it's not my fault. It ain't her mama fault. It ain't my fault. And the state, city, county can't blame me. The state, city, county just turn around and talk to whoever that person is. Then making these false accusations with the age and the weight to make it where you have junior booster seats, where with these sizes right here, we can do something with a booster seat. Because, like, Asia could have just been in her booster seat, and Kayla could have had her extra large booster seat, and I wouldn't have had a problem putting it in the car. Okay, but if you don't make it, how can I do anything about that? You know, you don't put stuff on people that it ain't the people's fault. Especially when you write a ticket and you sound dumb when you write. Like, people write tickets and it be so dumb. It be like the dumbest stuff. Okay, like, so they don't really know, like, what to be writing a ticket for. They ain't got that far yet. You know what I'm saying? So, just to let you know, I'm there for you. Be there for me. Teach me, just like I can teach you something. But we all gonna learn something different. And 20 years ago, daycare centers have changed. But then this is a private, like, academy, so it would be kind of different than a daycare center. But you gotta think, like, 20 years ago, when I was in a daycare center, the daycare centers was like what on some sheets of papers. Where now it's 20 years later, and daycare centers is doing what in these days? Okay, so then 20 years from today, because I'm in a daycare center, right? How would the daycare centers change? I'm just teaching them little words where if they have a diaper rash or something, someone would know how they feel with their diaper rash, or with their eczema breakout, or with their allergy breakout. You feel what I'm saying? Wherever it could be at. It could be on your stomach. It could be on your leg. It could be, wherever it could be. Okay? And that's what I want y'all to understand. Alright? So, it's been a long time coming, daycare people. It has been a long time coming. But let me just tell you, with that long time coming, I'm glad that I'm there. Okay? Work on the words with your children. Wet. Your pamper is wet.